I'm Pat, and I was born in Atlanta, Fulton County, McClendon Hospital. I have lived here most of my life. I've lived in other places, but I was always drawn back to the South as someone who entered puberty to the beat of the civil rights movement. I've been known within a community and still continue to be known as a pissed off black dyke from Georgia. Was fine as gay, and I preferred dyke because it speaks to the Harlem Renaissance and the bull daggers that were around then.
Young Hughley. I was born in Atlanta, a Grady baby, as they say. I grew up in Carver Homes. Me growing up in Carver Homes, me being a child of the late 40s, I grew up, and I sort of frame it as a hetero-homo. That's the way I talk about it, a hetero-homo. You were expected to be a heterosexual, to act like one, to be one. And I grew up in a household where that was really expected. I had 7 brothers. I had a dad and mom in the house. So my behavior was very heterosexual, but at the same time, at an early age, I knew that I was gay. I ended up getting married, and was married for 23 years, and I think I did that well also. Some of it was performing, and some of it was very real.
Greetings, my name is Tracy McDaniel. I was born and raised in South Carolina, Sumter, South Carolina to be exact, the home of Shaw Air Force Base. I've lived in Atlanta for 15 years now. I'm fulfilled because I have an opportunity to make a positive effect on our community. When I traveled to Washington, D.C. Previously to lobby Congress for ENDA, which is an Employment Non-Discrimination Act. We wanted a bill that included gender identity and orientation, so that trans and gender non-conforming people wouldn't be left out of the workplace protections. And then years later, I was invited by the White House to brief the White House on economics and the disparities that economics and unemployment have on trans and gender non-conforming people. So that was an affirming adventure that I certainly am very, very pleased with, and brings me lots of joy to know that I am making a difference for the next generation, because we need people to pave the pathway, because there were people before me that made it a little easier for me to live and be my authentic self.
My name is Freddie Stiles. Thank you for inviting me. I had to pause for a moment to consider myself as an elder, but here I am. I was born in Madison, Georgia, and moved to Atlanta shortly before my 8th birthday in 1952. In 1965, I met my partner, and I was swooped up and wrapped in the cocoon of a relationship for 44 years until he died in 2009. I've always thought of myself from the moment I identified my sexuality as marching in my own private parade of affirming who I am, and hopefully inspiring other people to accept who they are.
My support circle is by blood and found family. There are people that are present in my life that all I need is a phone call or a text. And I'm there for them in that same way. And I realize that that is a precious thing to have, and it's precious, and it's a blessing to have people where you can show up raggedy and they're still down with you.
My family has always been supportive. Even when I was not out about being gay, they were extremely supportive of me as an individual and just being different. I have a friend that I went to high school with. we still are friends today. I have a friend that I went to college with. We still are friends today, and these are people I've known for over 40 years. So I have a network of about 4 people like that. One that I met in Chicago from living there. We've been friends over 35 years. So these people are still in my life, and they are my support.
Well, number one, my support group is my family. My marriage of 21 years. Without my family and without the unconditional love and support from them, I probably wouldn't be able to do the things that I've done or be the person that I am, because they gave me the freedom and the strength knowing that I have someone that loves me regardless of what anyone else says.
Well, I was from a very dysfunctional family. My husband, Leroy O'Quinn, was the first person who loved me unconditionally. He was afraid I love you warts and all, and we would laugh. One of the things my mother said to me was, no one would ever like you and you will never have any friends. That was her story. She also told me I was ugly. And so those are some of the cooties I picked off me in counseling. But I have a marvelous circle of, I think of them as family. They're non-related family. I feel very fortunate to have more legitimate friends than I can count on 2 hands. Camille Love, director of the Office of Cultural Affairs, and I are very good friends. Sometimes we go for months without talking, but if I called Camille right now and needed something that she could provide, or if she called me and needed something that I could provide, we're there. They're the genuine article. Now, I hang out with some of the natives in the neighborhood because after my partner died, I emerged from behind the hedges and started to interact with the locals. They'll say, oh, Fred, I'm your friend. I say, oh, no, you're not, darling. If I let you call yourself my friend, I insult a whole lot of folks. You know me, we're acquaintances, but you are not my friend. Don't get that confused.
A love letter to my 25-year-old self would start with, you have further to go than you know. And would cover some of the things that had happened prior to that and where I was then, but also to say, you don't get to see over the horizon. The horizon is always before you. And that I know you will do everything you can, and that is all that's required.
Dear Young, you are going to have a wonderful life. And you are going to spend maybe 3/5 of it not totally being honest in terms of who you are. If you can hook it up, and you won't have this letter, but it would have been great. It would be great if you could start out being full and authentic in terms of who you are, because you've done some great things, and had you truly been yourself fully, God only knows what other wonderful things you could have done. So I love you, and be gentle with yourself, but enjoy the fullness that life has to offer in terms of who you are as an individual.
Prepare yourself for a true story about an unimagined dream coming to fruition, which is filled with many adventures, opportunities, and possibilities that you were unaware of, that were already ordained and pre-planned for you to just step into. There are going to be some ups and downs, peaks and valleys. However, there are going to be many joyous experiences.
I've been thinking about this question a lot, and what I think I would do, I think I would congratulate and thank him for having the wisdom beyond his years of accepting himself and living his life authentically to get me to where I am today. I think that's what I would do, because, when you live inside of yourself, I've stopped, but for many years I thought of myself as just a plain ordinary person. But I'm not. I'm quite extraordinary. I really am. I had to kind of accept that I'm not ordinary at all, because I don't know anyone else. When I was in counseling and shared some of myself with the counselors, they were just amazed. How did you get to that? Who inspired you? I don't know. I just had just a sense of, I don't know. I didn't have any role models. I had to kind of grapple in the dark and come up with stuff myself. Because once I identified my sexuality, I didn't like the examples of what I was supposed to be like, so I didn't want to be like them. Many of them were despised creatures, tormented creatures, totally unattractive to me. And I always wanted to be attractive and desirable. And so I just had to kind of, I guess it was that inventive quality that I use in my work, that I use in my life.